crack your money code to become intentionally wealthy. So let's learn from her this morning.
So I'm going to just start with some questions for you. And first ask, how many of you have experienced a cycle of feast or famine and cash flow in your life or your business? So show of hands here, where sometimes money comes in easily, but then it goes out, and it's just not a consistent thing, regardless of how hard you work. How many of you struggle to have courageous conversations about money? Like, these are my prices.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
And how many of you want to have the key to consistent cash flow?
Yes.
All of you!
We're in the right place.
That's what we're here to talk about. So I'm going to just set the groundwork a little bit by telling you just a little background story about me, if I have your permission. So I grew up on a farm. I'm a farm girl from West Central Minnesota, up north. We're all Swedish or German, and I grew up as the oldest, doing a lot of farm chores at an early age, which meant by the time I was 10 years old, I was driving the tractor, baling hay, pitching shit. And my husband doesn't like to know that I have this skill set, but I had to help my dad with unpleasant tasks like cutting balls off pigs.
Oh.
That makes him nervous.
Yikes.
This is my husband, Kevin, right now. But I was given some very limiting beliefs about money. So when I think about, early recollections were, we can't afford it. What do you think, I'm made of money? Money doesn't grow on trees. Or if you go to church, you're hearing, money is the root of all evil. Like, if you had a spiritual mission, it was evil. And then my mom said something to me when I was 7. She goes, honey, when you grow up, you better marry a really wealthy guy, because you like nice stuff.
Oh.
And I was like, I just had this push energy, like I was going to prove her wrong.
Yes, ma'am.
And what that meant, though, was my first husband, I was the breadwinner. And I was in this cycle of working 3 jobs throughout almost my entire adult life. And I'll tell you a little bit about my work, but I came up with this central belief that I'm not enough, or I'm only worthy of having money if I worked hard enough to earn it, or if I suffered long enough to deserve it. That whole worthiness thing was ingrained. And those beliefs lead to self-concepts. Beliefs are the foundation of our identity. And my self-concept was one of, I'm never enough. And money is for other people, not me. I had wealthy relatives. My dad had a cousin who was the president of Exxon Oil and lived in Singapore. He had an aunt that owned 4 banks. But you know how you inherit certain beliefs from parents? My mom has a very wealth consciousness, prosperity mindset. But my sister and I are daddy girls. And daddy had the mindset and the self-concept, we're just the dumb farmers in the family, And so I, not consciously adopted that belief. And it really led to this, overworking, under-earning. And I'm gonna sing to you this morning, ladies and gentlemen. My theme song was Donna Summer, remember? She works hard for the money,
Yes.
so hard for it, honey. She works hard for the money, so you better treat her right. So my career has always been as a helping professional. And I worked in higher education, and I was a counseling psychologist. Been in my field for over 33 years. I'm 59 years old. And an administrative job, but I went 9 years without a raise. I worked for the state of Wisconsin in the University of Wisconsin River Falls, and I created a coaching program at Adler Graduate School. I went 9 years without a raise, not even a cost of living increase. So then I was always looking for side gigs. And I acquired all these additional coaching certifications. So I was coaching top leaders at PricewaterhouseCoopers and Facebook. And I was noticing they all had wealthy mindsets. Whereas the counselors that I was, training and teaching, they were in the mindset of trading dollars for hours. They often had imposter syndrome, like, how do I start a business? I'm going out into the world. I want to help people, and I just kind of want to give away my services. So they often thought that their income was fixed. So my change in trajectory happened in 2015. And now I look back, and just like you said yesterday, man, the universe always has your back, even though you think you're going through a shit tsunami.
Yes.
2015 was a shit tsunami. At the end of the year, I was dating someone at the time in a very serious relationship, and out of the blue, the day after Thanksgiving, this guy just ended the relationship. Didn't give me a reason. I was just heartbroken. And then suddenly 3 people in my life were diagnosed with cancer.
Wow.
And one friend was gone within 2 weeks. I didn't even get to say goodbye to her. It was heartbreaking. And, 2 of them didn't make it. One of them did. Thank God I still have my dad. But, it was really a tough time. And then I was told my job was cut. And here, what I had done my entire life is help people with their careers. So anytime I made a transition, I always had my next gig lined up. And here I was suddenly without a job, without my next gig lined up. And I decided then, I don't necessarily want to go do the same thing I was always going to do. So I added on additional coaching certifications. I always need another certification, right?
Yeah.
But one thing I did was I added on a theta healing, which was really transformational, which I'll tell you a little bit more because it supports my story later in my presentation. But it allows you to get at beliefs that exist on the subconscious level and quickly shift those and create. And it really changed my whole idea about counseling psychology because I realized you don't have to spend your life reliving trauma. You can really quickly get at what's limiting you and get at those beliefs. But I became very passionate about helping people who are heart-centered like you all are to go out there and make money so you can make a big impact in the world. You all have a big mission and divine purpose. And guess what? You need money to support that so you can have that impact. So we all have that money story. And unfortunately, our money blueprint is often in place by the time we're 7. So I invite you to think a little bit, what was your money story? What kind of messages did you hear about money? You want to know how to crack your money code?
Yeah.
All right, we're going to get into the good stuff here.
Right.
So first we're going to talk about just understanding money is energy, right? Everything is energy. So there's energy around how you manifest and bring money into you, how you keep it, because some people are good at bringing it in but not having money, right? How do you spend and circulate money? Just because it's energy, money needs to circulate. And some people are afraid to spend it. How do you manage money? Investing it, saving it. And what are your patterns, habits, and beliefs around money? Because bottom line is how you think and how you be is your blueprint. And we have certain set points where we think this is the lowest I could ever earn, or this is the highest I could ever earn. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? You can raise that set point. It's very important because I love the T. Harv Eker quote, because how you do money is how you do everything. Really, it's a broader encompassing quote that says how you do anything is how you do everything.
Yeah.
But I'm dialing in the money part. Whoops, what did I do now? Okay. And I love his next quote, which is, your income can only grow to the extent that you grow. So we're always here to expand and grow. And so in order for you to change your trajectory with money, you have to grow and evolve. So the elements of the money mindset are this: beliefs. We have subconscious and conscious beliefs in regards to money, which support, as I was telling you earlier, our self-concept and our identity of how we are in relationship with money, because money is a relationship. Like any other relationship, it needs to be nurtured. The foundation of any relationship is trust, right? So it's getting to that point where you can trust money. Self-worth. Like, what do you think you're worthy of? Because you're never going to receive more than you think you're worthy of. So we heard yesterday a lot of great stories about self-love and worthiness. Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful souls, that is so important. Because you didn't come in this world saying, all right, you're worthy. You're not. You weren't stamped on the head when you were born. You are all worthy of making as much money as you want to make in this world. All of you. We have self-talk. We're always talking to ourselves because we're thinking thoughts. And so what are you saying? Because thoughts are things. And what you focus on grows, whether it's what you want or what you don't want, right? I've been a little bit of a downer this week with the election. So I've been focused a little bit on what I don't want because we had an election in the US. But I will shift. I'm working. Some of you ladies yesterday at the table were really helpful to me, so thank you. I'm getting there. But part of mindset too is how you value your time and how you value your expertise and your experience. Because sometimes we don't value our time and what we bring to the table. So here's some money truths. Number one, money is infinite. Just because you got money doesn't mean that he can't have money, that you can't have money. And sometimes people think, just because you're successful, it's taken away from me. It is not. Money is infinite. Money truth number two is money likes to go where there's a purpose. It's there to fund your dreams. It's there to fund your divine purpose for being here. And so, when you have a good why behind why you want money, you get in more alignment how to attract it. And again, we talked about money being in energy form and vibration. And again, getting into alignment with that vibration of wealth is what we're all about in cracking your money code. So let's talk a little bit about the conscious and subconscious program, because we heard some of that yesterday from Franca and from others. The role of your subconscious mind is to keep you safe. And your subconscious mind rules about 90 to 95% of your brain functions. Sadly, like I mentioned earlier, it's programmed by the time you're 7 years old. And we take into things like a fire hose when we're little, and we don't always realize that we have discernment. Like, that's bullshit, that's true, We just take it all in, especially from authority figures, mom and dad, grandparents, clergy, teachers, anybody that you see as an authority figure, and the media, what you see on TV, we take in as truth. And so with theta, because we're in a theta state from the time we're born until about age 7, there are 4 levels of belief. And there's a reason I talk about this, because it ties into explaining a little bit about what theta healing is, because that's my secret sauce. And I love it, because it is transformational. So we have beliefs that are on the core level. And again, that's birth to where you are now. Everything that you took in, all your memories, all your beliefs. And we hold those beliefs in a certain part of our body, which is our pineal gland. The second level of belief are genetic. And these are the ones we inherit from not just our parents, but both sides of the family going back 7 generations. Science can now prove it back 3 generations. And a great book for that is It Didn't Start With You by Mark Woolen. I highly recommend that book. Great one. And where we hold genetic beliefs are in the morphogenetic field around our physical DNA, which tells it to express or not. The 4th level of belief, we were talking yesterday about group consciousness. We're all part of a collective consciousness. So that's part of the history belief, but that's also where what we accept as true or possible for us, but it also relates to past lives, and it also relates to oaths and vows, curses that might have happened on that level. It relates to karma. And we carry those beliefs in our auric field. So as a theta healer, I can see where those beliefs are, and I can test you and find out where those beliefs are. But the very last one is your soul level, because we're all here to grow and expand. We're all here to teach and learn from each other. Every person you meet is a teacher and a student to you. And we hold those beliefs in our heart, because that's the deepest part of you. So we can reprogram them. You know, we're not stuck with those shitty beliefs. You know, we're not stuck with those early recollections, because our brains have neuroplasticity. We're not just stuck where we are. So to start with, rather than shaming yourself for having negative beliefs or disempowering beliefs about money, I invite you to first be a gentle observer. So you have an awareness, like, what are my dominant thoughts about money? You know, start writing them down. You know, what comes up for you? Because that's the only way you're gonna know. Uh-oh, what happened here? Okay. I didn't get to the next one, okay. So fears and blocks. So when I work with people, there are often things that block them from what they want. And they're often afraid of something happening that gets in the way of the money they desire. So I often ask that question: what is the reason I don't want my desires to come true? Am I afraid I'm going to have to pay higher taxes? Am I afraid people might be looking for a handout and take advantage of me? You know, if I have money, that I won't handle it well, that I'll lose it, or that money will become a burden to me, or maybe people are afraid that they'll become unethical or greedy, because sometimes that's how wealthy people are portrayed in movies, when that's not true. You know, wealthy people are not more unethical or greedy or selfish than any other person. It's just often that's the distortion that we're given. And sometimes people have an issue with how money comes to them. Like, I inherited it from someone, and you know, I didn't like that person or whatever. But there are often blocks and barriers. So this is where you decide what is true for me now instead. And when I work with people, I like this part, because we're all deliberate creators. Either you're creating by default or you're creating by design. And I invite you all to think more deliberately about how you create. And T. Harv Eker, who I love, he's got the book, The Secret of the Millionaire Mind, said, rich people believe I create my life. Poor people believe life just happens to me. Because then I can get into a victim mode and I can blame somebody else. So I'm gonna leave, I know I'm running down on time. Thank you. Overview of manifesting money. Number one, what do you want? What do you want? Think about it, declare it, and keep your focus there. And we're gonna do a declaration about that. Again, we talked about your dominant thoughts about money, but what are the limiting ones that you can release or reframe? And you start thinking about, what are my new thoughts about money? Because you have to start training your brain to vibe and think that new thought. It takes reinforcement. And stepping into the self-concept of a wealthy person is a game changer, because that is going to pull you to your dreams faster than just having a goal like, hey, I want to make $1 million in the next year. You're better off just stepping into the self-concept of, how does a wealthy person think? How are they with money? How do they show up in the world with money? What do they do, and what do they take off their to-do list? Allow yourself to be led in regards to wealth creation, because once you make that powerful declaration, money can come to you. But look for that divine guidance, and then expand your ability to receive money. So, ways to clear inner money blocks. What I do as a theta healer is I help people think about, do you have physical clutter you need to get rid of? Do you have emotional clutter that you need to release? And I help people quickly identify those things, and we all have free will. But the big key is understanding, how did it serve you? How did that limiting or that crappy belief serve you? Because usually we develop those to keep us safe or to solve a problem. But we can rewrite it with a new one. And what I do as a theta healer is I'm the witness. I'm not the healer. God is the healer. But I'm the channel that helps you connect with your higher self and divine energy to make a command and request of the Creator to create that change. So, we're going to shift by this because we're going to get down to the part about money rules. You get to, we talked about boundaries yesterday too, right? You can have boundaries about money too. Like any relationship, how do you want to be in that relationship with money? And again, we talked about needing to trust and nurture money like any other relationship that matters to you, is significant to you. And where you get to a point where money is there for you, supports you, where you trust it. And so your new declaration is this, and this is what I'm going to invite you to do. Right now is, I want you to write this down. I see myself manifesting blank amount of money. By what date? Because I mentioned that money goes to where there's a purpose. What's your purpose? Why would you like to have more money? What are the emotions that you want to feel as you're attracting more money and where your desires are fulfilled? How do you want to feel? Stating to the universe, I'm open to expanding my ability to receive blank amount of money that I know, this is the certainty part, is coming my way. And I want you to make this declaration with me right now. I know that I'm worthy of receiving more money in abundance because I have a millionaire mind. You all have a millionaire mind. And so, be your future self now. We talked about that already. And decide that you are no longer available for self-shaming thoughts about money. You are no longer available for that. You are only available for abundance.
Yes.
And so, here we go. This is my ending. I know I'm off the stage here. Why not you? Why not you? Why not you? I invite you to go all in. All of you to go all in. And this is not my glass. But I'm going to put it up there and I'm going to invite you to raise a toast to health, wealth, and the time to enjoy it, and having fun making money. So, go all in, because your new song is going to be the ABBA song. Money, money, money is our son in the rich man's world, rich woman's world. So, call to action. I'd like you to reach out to me. You know, click on the QR code. I brought these along too. I offer a free belief clearing workshop once a month that you can take for free and your clients can take as well. And then I've got a guide here for my consistent steps for unlocking wealth. And here's how you can reach me. I invite you to reach out. Thank you so much, beautiful souls. It's been so wonderful to know you and meet you. And go all in.